This is the Tigers POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Detroit Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
How about a 1-0 shutout pitching gem from the Detroit Tigers to earn a series win on a Sunday afternoon, a sunny afternoon. Let's try that again. A sunny afternoon on the south side. I don't even know what day it is. I'm so excited. I'm Jake Riepma. Welcome into a live Locked On Tigers postcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. And nothing like 24 hours, less than 24 hours, because it was a night game into a day game to make you forget every shortcoming of this team. Believe in the bullpen, believe in Troy Melton, and the offense. Well, that's a whole nother story, but we'll talk about it all on a live Locked On Tigers postcast. Get the comments in. Would love to hear from you. Fire up that comment box, because this is your post-game destination. It's the Locked On Tigers postcast, free and available wherever you get your podcast, and of course on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. Make sure you like today's video. It helps us out a great deal. And subscribe to Locked On Tigers if you haven't yet. What the heck you waiting for? Up, down, roller coasters, whatever it is. You know, Scott Bentley has you covered on the daily Locked On Tigers show, and I've got the instant reaction show for you after games on the Locked On Tigers postcast. So here we go. Buckle up and dial it in. And oh yeah, we'll have our biggest talking point, our turning point, and our player of the game as well. But I am excited on day baseball, getaway day, less than 24 hours after I felt really down and depressed about the state of the Detroit Tigers. They come out and play a clean game. I think Andy Dirks said it best when at the conclusion of the game, he just said, look, this is a team that responded and came out and played the game the right way. Now, offensively, you got the bases loaded and nobody out. Wenceel Perez does his best, hits one deep and into the gap. Really nice catch by Luis Robert there to hold it to just a sacrifice fly. But somebody else has to step up there. You got to be able to score more than just one run with the bases loaded and nobody out. But the biggest story, make no mistake about it, the starting pitching effort. And oh my goodness, Troy Melton was so good. You absolutely know that's our biggest talking point.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Listen, I'm at the point, albeit limited data, limited sample size. Troy Melton is the second pitcher in a playoff series for the Detroit Tigers. He was incredible this afternoon at the rate or guaranteed rate field. I still don't know what the name of the ballpark is for the White Sox. Somebody let me know in the comments. But Troy Melton, 12 up, 12 down. First pitch strike every single time. It was an effective use of first pitch strikes too. They were quality first pitch strikes, and he had White Sox hitters on their toes the entire night. And you might say, or entire afternoon, you might say, well, Jake, this is a White Sox team. Let's not get carried away. This is a White Sox offense that took it to this Tigers pitching staff last night in a multitude of ways. And for Melton to come out and dominate the way he did in a game that you needed it because the offense was nowhere to be found per usual. And again, Troy Melton almost had this put the team on the back kind of feel, and albeit 5 innings. So we got to give a lot of credit to the rest of the bullpen because they were excellent as well. And maybe, just maybe, you found something with a 6th, 7th, and 8th combination between Sawyer Gipson-Long pitching the 6th and 7th, 2 innings scoreless, just the 1 hit allowed. Kyle Finnegan pitching the 8th, and then, of course, Will Vest getting his 18th save in the 9th inning, because it was, I mean, there was not even as much of a threat through the latter portion of those innings, the way that the bullpen was able to shut them down. Now, again, blind squirrel finds a nut. It's an outlier. Tell me whatever it is, but I'm going to sleep better tonight knowing there's at least a hint of a recipe, of a formula that could work for the Tigers bullpen in high leverage situations. 1-run game the entire day, and Sawyer Gipson-Long coming in with 2 scoreless innings. Kyle Finnegan pitching an 8th inning, which again, I said it the other night. I'll say it again. that appears to be a very, very impressive and valuable addition at the trade deadline. So as much as and as critical as I am of Scott Harris, which I will continue to be because he deserves it in so many different ways, I will also give credit where credit is due, and that is locating and finding a way to pick up Kyle Finnegan. Seems to be the move that adds a lot of value to this Tigers team as of right now. Now, that said, we have to take this in the amount, in the appropriate sample size that it was, which is not a whole heck of a lot, or I should say the sample size that it's been. And baseball is a funny game like that. It will continue to work out. That's why baseball is the way that it is. But on a Wednesday afternoon on getaway day in a spot you critically needed it to get a series win over a divisional opponent that, to the White Sox credit, is playing a little bit better, you have to give them a lot of credit with the addition of Kyle Finnegan to this point. All right, let's do it. Let's get into the comments. And again, solo operation here, so I'm not able to monitor comments. I'm not able to monitor the chat and filter through them like we used to have producers. I was a producer at 97 Won the Ticket that used to have to filter through the ticket text and then pick out the good ones. So bear with me and actually do me one better and make it quality comments, and don't get in fights in the comments section. Otherwise, we're just going to turn comments off and it'll just be me blabbing the whole time, which we don't want that. All right. Rich says, first 3 words every Tiger fan should say: I don't care. A win is a win is a win. And boy, did they need this one. Huge shot in the arm from Melton and Sawyer Gibson-Long. Just enough hitting. Finn Vest, close it out. There you go. I, per usual, agree with Rich in his assessment on the game. Braylon Dennis says, bullpen actually did its job for once. Very good. And we've got Demetrius McNeil checking in, one of our loyal listeners. Jake, we have seen everything. Win by 1, lose by 1 run, take the 1-run win, and we love it. 70 wins this season. Hey, Alexa, tell Mr. DJ to play that song. I got to be careful. My Alexa device is going to start playing Tigers won again. All right. Next comment from G. Glad we did what we were supposed to do. Go Tigers. That's one way to look at it. Sure. Braylon Dennis checking in again. Troy Melton needs to replace Flaherty in the rotation. I've seen enough. Hey, I'm with you there, Braylon. And like I said in the beginning portion of the show, if we're doing the Tigers number 2 starter in a playoff series right now, call me crazy, but I'm ready to give Troy Melton that spot over Jack Flaherty and the rest of the starting rotation staff for that matter. All right, Mike is up next, and he says, still, this team is almost unwatchable, but maybe that's just me. No, I was right. It's them. There's always going to be those comments, and I don't disagree. I disagree with the term unwatchable. If you want to point to certain areas of this game where you're scratching your head, you're plucking your eyebrow hairs out, whatever it is, I'm not going to blame you on that, because it certainly was not a perfect game, but the result is what was needed. And as some baseball experts that know far more than I do would tell you, you just got to get a ticket to the dance and then anything can happen. I'm not sure if I necessarily believe that this Tigers team is equipped to make a postseason run, but let's get there and see what happens. It's better than the alternative. The dude checks in next. He says, this lineup can't get 3 runs if you put the ball on a tee. Once again, getting mound down by average pitching. That's true. That's true. And I think that's what set off the comment chain here that I'm trying to follow while also articulating my thoughts, which is always a dangerous proposition. Versus says, credit where credit is due. Bullpen was nice. Indeed, it was. Guy Merritt checking in. Our pitching is coming around. We had to go through some injuries, but we've assembled a good roster of pitchers, I think. LOL. Yeah, Guy, I'm with you there. It's still a guessing game in one sense, where you're wondering which Tigers pitching staff is going to show up from series to series. And the bullpen today, listen, again, it's an outlier. A broken clock is right twice a day. Whatever cheesy cliche you want to hit me with, I'll take. I understand that. But at the same time, in a game that saw a lot of high leverage situations, the bullpen came through and passed the test each and every time. All right. Tim Palmer is up next. Now, I tweeted this out, Tim, so that's the reason I'm picking this comment. Andy Dirks also said shin boner when Javi took a foul off his leg. Indeed, he did. And you had Daniela Bruce trying the Chicago hot dog there, saying she liked Chicago hot dog over a Coney dog and saying she'll get wrecked for that comment. But, hey, I actually agree. I think the Chicago hot dog is better than the Coney dog. I like Coney dogs. They just don't like me. But never a dull moment on the FanDuel broadcast when you've got the reports going on from time to time. All right. I better take a break. And we'll do one more comment here from R1VJ4 because I happen to agree with this one. Not personal, and don't take it personal. Why is Rogers still here? Can't hit for bleep. He's depressing to watch in the box all year. Then the reason to bring up a replacement. There's been a really reason to bring up a replacement. I completely agree. He's unwatchable at the plate. I mean, Andy Dirks, I wouldn't say called him out, but at least in Andy Dirks fashion, he was gentle about it. I mean, there's a hanger right over the plate in his last at-bat, and he hit it a mile in the air. It looked like the old Spencer Torkelson pop-up in the infield where he just like, guys, come on. What are we doing? All righty. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's take a break. Let's keep the lights on at Locked On Sports. You know, the Locked On Podcast Network needs that. And we will have our turning point, our player of the game, and so much more, as well as look ahead to that Minnesota series. That's coming up next. It's a live Locked On Tigers postcast. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is brought to you by Open Phone. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Think about it. Last time you had a service emergency, like a burst pipe or something, if the first plumber you called didn't answer, what'd you do? Did you wait around? No. You called the next one. That's why having a reliable business line is so important, and that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication, all from an app on your phone. If you juggle 2 phones, well, Open Phone has the solution. Keep business and personal calls separate. Open Phone solves that problem instantly. Open Phone is offering Locked On Tigers postcast listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/LockedOnMLB. That's OPENPHONE.com/LockedOnMLB. If you have an existing number with an existing service, Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. We love a good port over. Open Phone, no missed calls, no missed customers. This episode of the Locked On Tigers postcast is also brought to you by our good friends at Game Time. Hey, we've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, my friends, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. That's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. I love the panoramic seat part of the app because you want to know what you're looking at before you buy, and the Game Time app allows you to see in high definition, full resolution photo and different angles from the seat, so you know exactly what you're getting into. And how about the zone deals? That's right. Tired of endless scrolling and trying to find the best deal? Game Time zone deals pick the best seats in your section. Problem solved. So take the guesswork out of buying concert and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms now, they apply, but create that account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for tuning in to the live Locked On Tigers postcast, and appreciate everybody that makes this your post-game destination. And I would appreciate even more if you told a Tigers fan about it, or a friend. Don't have to be a Tigers fan, but it's the more the merrier. That's the kind of mantra and mentality we have here, especially after a 1-0 Tigers win and a series win. We will take it. Tigers with 70 wins on the season, and it's August 13th. Let's keep on going. Big story today. Well, absolutely the start of Troy Melton, just the pitching in general, as a 1-0 game would indicate. 2 shutout innings from Sawyer Gibson-Long, a shutout 8th inning from Kyle Finnegan, and Will Vest, a mow him down kind of 9th inning to earn the save. Let's get into our biggest turning point.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
I wrote down in my notes that the Tigers having the bases loaded and nobody out and scoring just 1 run seemed like it could potentially be a turning point in the 6th inning. But alas, the Tigers pitching staff bailed them out. So the turning point in this one, I think you got to point to how good Troy Melton was as a starting pitcher. And did he face a little bit of trouble? He had the leadoff double in the 5th inning, and he was able to pitch around that no problem. And 12 up, 12 down to start a game certainly bodes well for the result of the game. And Melton did such a great job in a 5-inning sample size. And on top of that, the bullpen was really good as well. So there wasn't one specific point where this game turned. Like I said, I felt like only scoring 1 run with the bases loaded and nobody out could have been a turning point. But fortunately, the Tigers pitching staff made sure that didn't happen. All right, I think we got all kinds of stuff going on in the comments, so I'm unable to monitor them and articulate my thoughts. My apologies. Let's go ahead and get into our player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
You know it's Troy Melton because he retired the first 12 hitters he faced. I thought there was some potential for a no-hitter today. I really did. Maybe a perfect game. And obviously Melton, not a guy necessarily with that type of stamina. And in A.J. Hinch and really the entire Tigers coaching staff, they're not going to let a guy go a complete game. I remember being at the game where the Tigers had a combined no-hitter when Matt Manning started. There's a name. There's a throwback. And A.J. Hinch took him out in the 6th inning. So, if you're going to have a combined no-hitter, that's one thing. And people will, I guess it doesn't matter because obviously the Tigers didn't get there. But point being, hey, what a day from the pitching staff. They did it, shut out, and they needed it because the Tigers offense only scored 1 run. White Sox finished with just the 2 hits, Tigers with 5 of them. And that's another kind of subplot in this game. And because we're not going to talk about it nearly as much because the Tigers won, but had they not been able to go on and win that game, I mean, they leave 9 guys on, only 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. So just the 2 opportunities, but going to have to be better offensively in that department. All right. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Hey, let's do this again tomorrow. No off day. In fact, the Tigers have a 4-game series set with the Minnesota Twins as part of this road trip through the Central Time Zone. You got Tarek Skubal and Bailey Aubert tomorrow for the Minnesota Twins, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw it yet, but the Twins ownership not selling the team. Have some friends that are Minnesota Twins fans, and they are livid. They're heated, which is a bummer. So it could be worse. Well, maybe not worse. I mean, we have Chris Illich as our owner, so I won't get into all of that. There's only a couple minutes left in the program. I won't subject anybody to that, but you get the idea. Tigers, Twins tomorrow night. Tarek Skubal, Bailey Aubert. Charlie Morton will go for the Tigers on Friday, Casey Mize Saturday, and then Chris Paddock on Sunday. A little 4-gamer. You got to love it. Appreciate everybody tuning in tonight and this afternoon, I should say. Enjoy the rest of your night. We had day baseball today, so get wild, get crazy on a Wednesday night, and we will circle back tomorrow. Thanks so much. Make sure you like and subscribe and say hello to Scott Bentley. Say hello to everybody. Let's have some fun. Locked On Tigers postcast. Tigers beat the White Sox 1-0. Troy Melton, 5 scoreless innings, retired the first 12 hitters he faced, and the Tigers take 2 out of 3. See you next time on Live Locked On Tigers postcast.